Welcome to the New Money Habits Podcast, where we talk about how to create a better plan for your money so you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. Here are your hosts, Sarah Jones and Nino Villa.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Sarah Jones, and I am here with you today solo. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a little bit different episode than what you are normally used to listening to, but I hope you enjoy it all the same. Nino and I generally start off with him asking me, where in the United States am I, with being a full-time RVer. So as of this recording, I am in South Carolina. And honestly, we are really loving it. Some of the most kind, genuine, friendly people I think we've ever experienced, we have met here. So it's been really great being here. And I'm really excited to be back with you guys this week. And if you've listened to any of our episodes in the past, you know that Nino and I view money and, our habits and our behaviors and how to handle things a little bit differently, which is great. And I tend to lean more on the side of really our true behavior, our mindset, very much where we grew up, how we learned about money. And that's really kind of what I want to talk to you guys about today is, and I'm just going to call this justifying purchases. And this came about because I hear so often when I'm talking with people, talking with clients, people often use the words like, we had to do this, right? Fill in that blank. We had to buy a new car because used car prices are so high. We had to do this because, again, fill in those blanks. And I want to call that out. I want to say that we need to stop, or please stop justifying your purchases. Really, when you justify your decisions, when you use that language and try to justify your decisions, you're really taking away the learning opportunity there. You are diminishing the fact that you had a choice in that situation. You instinctively, when you are justifying and using those words to justify a purchase, you're not giving other people the ability to really learn from you, because you are trying to convince somebody else that the choice you made was the right one. And I think that we do that so often because we're trying to, I guess, feel okay, right? Or trying to justify it in our own mind that, hey, the decision that I made, it's okay because. And I just want to pause on that for a second. I just want to think about, and I want you to think about, how many times have you justified a purchase or justified a financial decision? I'll tell you, I'll raise my hand. I've definitely done it a lot of times. And really, I think what it comes down to is that if we or you are justifying your decisions, deep down, you don't feel good about that choice that you made. And I want that to sink in just a little bit. If you're justifying the choice and the decision that you've made, you instinctively don't feel real good about it, and that's why you're trying to justify it. I don't believe that you can create an abundance and growth mindset unless you start changing your language. And so I want to kind of draw your attention to what language are you using when you're justifying or when you're talking about money altogether. I can't, I won't, I've always done this, I had to, or we had to. Those are very limiting beliefs, and those are stopping you in your tracks, and you're allowing your own mindset to stop you from moving forward. And so I actually just had a session with a client on Friday. You know, it was very interesting. We were talking through some things, and I was calling her out on some of the language that she used. And she said, Sarah, it's so amazing to me that you pick up and listen. You can hear all of these words that I'm using that I don't hear myself. And I told her, I said, well, that's what I do, right? Because I've trained myself to listen for those words, because I know that when you start changing the language that you use, start changing the words that you use to describe your situation, that things almost instantly become more positive. You start to be more aware. You're not doing things mindlessly anymore. And so I want to draw attention to the language that you're using, and the justifying purchases, that is very much involved in the language that you're using, right? So if you want to create abundance and growth, first thing I would say is really change some of that language that you're using. We chose to purchase a new car, period. We chose to fill in that blank, period. There doesn't have to be a because. And there doesn't have to be we had to or I have to. Right? It's just I choose to. End of story. If you really feel good about the choice that you're making, then there's no other information necessary. You don't have to try and justify it. You don't have to try and prove that you're right. You don't have to try and make somebody else believe that you are making the right decision. Right? So just think about that next time that you are talking about something. You have the choice. You have a choice in every single situation. And so I want you to be looking at your language that you use and really noticing how you are describing the choices that you're making. Are you aware that you have choices? Are you aware of the choices that you're really making? It really will, when you start to focus on those words, it will allow you for that. It will allow that growth to happen, because again, you're not going to be spending mindlessly. You'll be more aware of the choices that you're making. And you're going to start to look at those choices very differently. You will become more, I believe, more aware of how those choices affect you individually versus what you're trying to put out in the world, what you are hoping other people will see in you. I believe that when you become more aware and stop justifying things, you start living from a place of doing what's best for you versus doing what's best for other people. And what I mean by that is, so often we make these choices, again, hoping that somebody else is happy for us, or knowing that we don't feel real good about those choices that we've made. And so we need to justify them so somebody else can be okay with those. And the truth is, folks, nobody else has to be okay with your choices. The only one that I want to be okay with the choice is you. And I want you to really understand that you do have choices. And so, justifying purchases, I would say start looking at the language that you use and what purchases, what choices, what actions have you taken that you've justified lately. Another one, I've got a client that he a lot of times would start to say, I did this, but da 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 da, right? I blank, but da 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 da. I spent whatever, but, so he used buts to try and justify that spending. And the truth is I don't care what you spend the money on. as long as it's within your values, right? But he was trying to justify it so I felt better, I guess, about, and I wouldn't say anything to him about those purchases that he was making. And the truth is I don't care about the purchases that he's making. What I care about is that he is living in alignment to his values, and he is remembering the choices that he has, and he is making those choices based on, okay, what are my goals? What am I really working towards? So, short information, short podcast today, but I hope that you guys start paying attention and start listening to the language that you're using. And how does that affect? How has it affected the way you feel after you've made a purchase or after you've made a decision? Think back, take some time. So my challenge to you is take some time and reflect on, when have you justified purchases in the past, or where have you justified decisions? And if you can, take some time to kind of break that down. Why do you think you did that? Were you trying to make yourself feel better about it? And if yes, why? What about that decision that you made didn't feel right for you? What didn't sit real well with you? So that's my challenge to you this week, folks. I hope that I've given you something to think about today. I hope that you will be more mindful of the language that you're using going forward. And I hope that you will still tune in next week, because we have another great episode coming your way. So thank you for joining into the New Money Habits podcast. As always, we will see you again next week and continue the conversation.
Thank you for listening to the New Money Habits podcast, brought to you by New Money Habits and Keeping Up with the Joneses Financial Coaching. Submit your questions to our host by emailing podcast@newmoneyhabits.com. Be sure to subscribe to be notified of future episodes. Join our growing group of like-minded people on Facebook and follow us on your favorite platform. Music provided by Summer School.